All right, we're talking a little college football today. College football frenzy. We got Derek with us today.
Let's
Shane,
go.
Shane is on hiatus for today.
All
Um,
good.
so we got a guy who obviously knows college football. So we're gonna talk some college football today. Just came off a great podcast with Lee Taft, so check that out. But
Cool.
to, but college football, so I'm curious your opinion. Oregon is such an amazing example of when you really invest in a program in exorbitant ways to be able to make sure it's successful. I mean, they do that in all their sports because obviously you look at their track complex, which is insane,
Of course.
and their basketball complex, which is insane. It looks like you're in the Oregon forest. Um, but
What?
have you ever seen their court, their basketball court?
Yeah, it's like trees and stuff. It's
There's
darker.
trees
It's
and
like
shit
you're
on it.
literally like you're out here among the redwoods or whatever it
It's
is.
fucking awesome, dude. It's awesome. And,
They
and
just do something to add a little niche, right? That makes it its own, no matter what. Right. And that's kind of
yes,
like, look, even their football stadium, like the fans are right on top of you.
that stadium, what's it called? Auction Stadium or Austin
Yep.
Stadium?
The
It's
walls are tight. Listen, I remember they were like the first ones that really kind of went like dark green, light green across it, right? Like just add that different level of atmosphere to it. And I mean, look, we know they can invest it. They know, with the Nike link and all that kind of stuff, like the money is there, yes. But like they don't have to put it into that stuff. Like they choose to because that's what they want to do and that's their appeal. Like before that started happening, like you didn't really hear about Oregon on in any facet, right? Until they started doing like the uniform stuff. And they take pride in the fact that like they never wear the same uniform like twice. Like and they take pride in that and use that as like a rallying cry. And now you can really see the fruits of all that labor going into it and they're crushing people.
dude. Remember when you used to think that Oregon, oh, they're great, but they'll be soft when they come to like
Oh,
SEC.
they're a
Now,
Pac 12 team, right? They're a Pac 10 team. Like, it's all good. That's speed. Yeah, but that's great. But when they play a team that's going to, hammer down on you, and it was always offense, explosive, and this and that, and all this stuff. Like, now you're starting to see these guys, like, they play physical, man. And they
hammer people.
are dude, hammering people. And I really think it's going to come to fruition this weekend because, they're playing Michigan, who's, they're not ranked and they're kind of having like a reset since losing, like, Harbaugh and like however many guys to the NFL. Like, there's going to be something, but like, this is a statement game nationally where, like, hey, they're for real. Like, they're number one and they like deserve to be number one.
They deserve. They so far have been pretty comfortably the best team, right? And so it's really
Absolutely.
it's really the quarterback's like a potential Heisman candidate. I don't think he's going to win, but he's a Heisman candidate.
No, not with the way the Heisman goes.
Well, the Heisman's going to be either Ginty or uh, Travis Hunter, I think. The running back from Boise or Travis
Should
Hunter.
be the dude from Boise, but
I
because of the social media aspect, I think Hunter's got a hell of a shot.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
mean,
Shador will probably be there with him.
oh yeah. Although that could split the vote a little bit for them too.
Might actually hurt them.
It might actually hurt them. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. There's no doubt. I mean, Oregon's been awesome. I thought it was Ohio State had a scare from Nebraska. Did you see that?
I think Nebraska, right, with Matt Rule, the way he's doing things, the process at which he's going there and doing what he's doing, I think he literally is like the perfect coach for Nebraska, right? Because
Yep.
Nebraska was never flashy or any of this other kind of stuff. Like they just did what they did and beat you. And I think he's kind of bringing that back a little bit. Ohio State is always like, I don't know. I just feel like they are always like the team. And then they screw it up somewhere along the way. They have like a hiccup or they do this or they do that. And I don't, with the way the Big Ten is now, like the Big Ten is slowly getting to where the SEC is in terms of every week you're fighting for wins and you're literally battling and having a war week to week to week with good teams. I feel like the Big Ten is slowly but surely like getting to that. And I think like you could lose on any given week, right? Because every team you're playing is a really, really good team. There's no more gimmies in the Big Ten anymore. So I just think like, and a team like Nebraska, they've been like right there. They're just waiting for that one win that's really going to like flip the switch.
And you're right about that. The Big Ten has raised the bar for them by making it so tough. And I think what's really cool about it is you really got two conferences that
That's it.
every week is a war. SEC
Absolutely.
and the Big Ten. And the other two, ACC and Big 12, are comparable to each other, but they're not comparable to.
If those two probably combined, you could get somewhat there. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that is kind of where it's at. But look, like I mean, look, it's just like when you're prepared for certain teams, certain weeks, like. I mean, Big Ten, it's just, you know what I mean? It's the SEC has been like that for a really long time, and you're seeing it now, like with the Vanderbilts of the world that are going and punching Texas in the mouth at Texas. Like, it just goes to show you what one key win in a season against an opponent you're not supposed to beat can do for a team and how it really brings that whole thing. And that's what I love about football the most is like that momentum from a key win like that and that confidence that comes with like, hey man, we just punched them in the mouth can now continue your entire season. And even though they lost at Texas, like that was a win for Vanderbilt.
I'll tell you a theory I have too with Vanderbilt because when my sister went there, I would go watch.
Right, your sister went there, so you like know what's
I
like
went
going
and
on.
watch some of their games, and
right.
They used to listen. I would watch them play Tennessee tough or play Alabama tough, and lose, have a losing record in the SEC, and then win like every other game outside the SEC.
And they always win their bowl game, dude.
I feel like now that you've improved you've added these new teams like Oklahoma and Texas, the SEC, it actually gives Vanderbilt a chance because
100%.
now they get some of these teams that they actually really can compete with physically. It's going to give them more of a chance as the SEC expands because they actually could compete. Whereas before, when they were just like in with Florida, Georgia,
dude,
Tennessee,
every week. And look, that's the SEC, right? I mean, look, Florida went into this season having like the hardest schedule, right? They lose to Miami early in the season, and you haven't heard a damn thing about them since.
And they're good, but Florida's pretty good, actually.
They're good.
I think they have a winning record.
I mean, look,
didn't realize.
It's
wild. Florida is
also by quote unquote Florida standards, that ain't enough, dude. Just like Bama, this isn't enough. Like this is a terrible season for Alabama. 2 people, and they're still like a hammer. Like those expectations that are set, it's just different.
You're right about that. It's
Florida's I mean, look, you have two. The Big Ten has 2 teams that are or 3 teams that are undefeated in conference play, right? You have Indiana, who's 5-0, right? That guy, first head coach in the history of college football to start a season undefeated at FCS level, and then the next year FBS level, right?
Oh, really?
He was at James Madison last year. Now he's at Indiana. Oregon and Penn State is 4-0 in conference play.
And they're undefeated. Well, they play Ohio State
7-0.
They play Ohio State.
They have a huge one this week.
What do you think about that?
Well, I know the quarterback for Ohio State is a Pennsylvania kid, and he's a little pissed off because Penn State told him he wasn't good enough, so he went to Ohio State. So, a little bit of a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's pretty.
Where is that game? Is that game in Happy Valley?
I think it is.
Oh, baby. So, whiteout?
I think it's a whiteout. Yeah.
Oh, mama.
I think that's going to be a great one. And,
listen, I don't, and you can talk about all these other games too, Dave, but like, not to just like jump around, but
yeah.
Notre Dame was written off after losing to Northern Illinois, and they just dropped whatever on, now look, it's a service academy, but Navy ain't no pushover, dude. No. And you, like I know, playing against that offense usually gives some really good teams hiccups because you just don't see it. And they went into MetLife and just smashed it.
The only defensive coordinator I always say,
Al Golden.
well, I always say the only defensive coordinator that could not stop the Navy's triple option was when Bob Diaco was the Notre Dame coordinator. He got smoked by it.
I
And
believe he's at LSU now.
I know. And then the next year he turned up as our UConn head coach. And I'm like, oh, no. He couldn't
Yep.
stop the Navy triple option.
I'm
But
almost positive. Where
he's
is
a
he
famous,
now?
he's
No,
a
I'm
famous
sorry.
New
I'm
Jersey
sorry.
guy.
Hey, do you want to know where Bob Diaco is now? I'm wrong. Do you know where Bob Diaco is now?
Where?
Nebraska.
Oh, yeah, he's a DC there, right? Is he the DC or no? Or is he a position coach?
DC.
He's a famous New Jersey guy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, no. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Was he there? Hang on. I'm sorry. He's back to. Oh my God.
He was at
to.
Nebraska.
He's back to LSU. My apologies. He
But
was at
not as the
Nebraska back in the day. Listen, you want to talk about somebody that's jumped around a million times? Like, he's the guy.
Oh, really?
Yep. UConn from 2014 to 2016. Then he was Nebraska. Then he was Oklahoma. Then he was Louisiana Tech. Then he was Purdue. Then he was the New Jersey Generals in 2022 and 2023. And now he's at LSU. So since he
Wow.
left Notre Dame, my man has been everywhere.
Wow.
Head coaching record 11 and 26.
He's a special teams coordinator at LSU. Okay.
That's a whole different thing about careers. We could go on and do that. But I'm thinking that's the big game this weekend, right? Penn State,
Yes.
Ohio State.
Yes, I believe so. Yes. And then yeah, I think Nebraska, you're right, Rule has really done a good job.
Listen, the foundation is always there. There's nothing out there. Those people love freaking Nebraska football, dude. Like,
they struggled
you
for
just
a
gotta,
while, though.
yeah, because it was like, look, once they let go of Pelini, right? It was kind of
Right.
like, and look, Pelini is a Pelini, so we get it, right? But like, especially now in this day and age, but like, I feel like Matt Rule is that, only, he keeps it like in house, right? Like, we're gonna do things a certain way, and he's got that little bit of a whatever to him. Look, he was good at Temple, and then made that jump to the NFL or whatever. And like, look, some guys in the NFL, it just doesn't work, right? And it's hard to relate because it's more of a business. You're dealing with all that. I mean, look, Urban Meyer was an epic fail in the NFL, right? Like, Nick Saban was an epic, I wouldn't say epic fail, but a fail in the NFL because it's just different. So you get a guy back to college that gets all juiced up about it with a good foundation like Nebraska, and he's very open about the NIL stuff and how all that kind of stuff. Plus, listen, he's got probably a Heisman Trophy quarterback in the next couple of years because that Raiola kid is a stud.
He is a stud. Yeah, he's great.
He wants to be Patrick Mahomes all the way to the haircut.
Yeah, I know.
That's cool, dude. At least, hey, bro, whatever. He does the warm up down the sideline like it. Everything Mahomes does, like, it's not a bad guy to kind of mimic. You know what I'm saying?
Well, big games that are coming. So Miami plays Duke. Miami should smack them.
Bro, I'm back on the Miami train though, dude. Like, let's go, man. Like, I love it. I love it when Miami
quarterback makes a big difference. Cam.
Holy shit!
What's his last name? Cam.
Ward.
Ward.
Now listen, I saw a stat today. They've only gone 3 and out on 3% of their possessions the entire season.
Wow. He's
talk about a stat line, right?
If you get a dude at QB,
that's all it is, Dave. Because listen, they've been struggling to have that dude at quarterback for years.
He makes a huge difference. Look at Colorado. Shedeur Sanders is doing things. I'm like, I honestly think I know he's improved the roster. I honestly think they're still an average team. Shedeur is doing things that are crazy. I watched some of their games.
Look at all the top teams, right?
Plays.
All the teams that are the tops of their conferences, or they are what they are, have a QB that's like a game changer. Even Army, bro.
Yeah, he's great.
What are we talking about?
Quarterback is a great player. He can run and he actually can throw.
Dude, yeah, and like, I just look at those kind of things like that matters, man. Like Oregon, quarterback's a stud, right? Like, just look at your top teams. No matter what you do, it's how it is. Notre Dame, kid comes from Duke, right? Like, he's a game changer. He could use his legs. He could throw. He could do all this other kind of stuff. Like, Is what it is, man.
No,
You want to win games, spend your money on a quarterback.
Well, the Army quarterback has
Texas quarterbacks.
He's rushed for 909 yards and 19 touchdowns. The quarterback for Army.
And he's got to get up at 5 a.m. to do PT.
That's right. And it's right. I love his passing stats, though. His passing stats are. Why are they not showing his? I guess
because you probably don't have that many.
He does. He actually he's thrown 2, 4, 6 touchdowns, but 0 interceptions.
Taking care of the football. How do you win football games? No turnovers, tackle.
I love it. Last game against Rice, he was 6 for 9 at 2 TDs.
I mean, look, Texas A&M with a huge win this weekend.
That was a big win,
right? Over LSU. Man, listen.
LSU blew it.
I've never really been a fan of Brian Kelly in any facet. Like, he was probably, and I don't look. I love college football and I love all college coaches because I love what they do. But if I had to like pick one guy that I'm like, it's probably him. I just don't know if he fits LSU. Like Ed Orgeron was perfect there, and whatever happens, like I don't know. It's just LSU is a different type of place, dude. Like Saban was successful there, but like a lot of these guys can't go there and win games.
Well, he's winning. He's just not winning enough for what they expect.
I feel like he's not winning the big ones that they're expecting. Like he doesn't have that signature like win.
Yeah, like and he had the Heisman Trophy winner last year, which helped a lot.
And look, you saw him on Sunday night. Like, dude's a stud.
That pass,
dude. I like.
How about the guy who was taunting?
I'm like, hey, moron. Like,
yes,
sorry, buddy, but like, come on, dude. What are you doing? Like,
and then he's the one that tips it into Noah Brown's hands.
Noah Brown, Pope John.
He's hanging in there, Noah Brown. He's hanging in there.
Dude, he's got to be on what, year 7, 8?
He just
more than that. I mean, Dave, we had him in your game in 2013.
11 years ago.
And he left early from Ohio State. He's been buried on the Dallas Cowboy roster. I think he was with the Texans last year, and now he's, like a factor.
Isn't that wild when you like now you just started with us with basically those games, right?
That was the start.
Isn't it wild when you like now look back and you're like, wait a minute, this guy's a grown adult.
I'm like, wait, this guy is now like
30,
like made more money in the first day than I have yet.
Well, that's part of being a pro, I guess.
So he left Ohio State in 2016.
So he's been there 8 years. He's probably 30 years old now.
What's his name? The other one from that class too, Winfrey. He's on the Colts practice squad.
Oh, he's still. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's still playing around.
Like, I remember we scrimmaged.
We're like, wait, these two dudes are playing in the same game. About to go. Like, there was like 3 NFL dudes on this game.
We scrimmaged and Dwight Morrow when I was at Powell Park, and they had
and that's when they had the 2 monsters,
Winfrey and Wingate.
Yeah,
and they were. It was a great, by the way, great scrimmage. So, and I think Guy Bertola was the DC that year at Dwight Morrow.
Well, Dwight and also what's his name? Drakeford was probably the running backs guy.
Oh, definitely was. Barry Harris was the head coach. So, so we go and we had this great scrimmage. And I'm like, I said,
he was with the Texans last year in the Commander.
We did this play that I never ever run really very much because we just normally can't protect it long enough. But I ran.
Story of my life.
I ran 2 wide out in the slot, and they run one guy runs a post, the other one runs a corner. They basically mesh it.
Yeah.
And so we did it. I like, we're going to run this just to mess with Barry. So I didn't know if we could protect it long enough, but we protected it long enough. And Winfrey and Wingate were the two guys. One was the safety, one was the corner. And they ran the break, and the guy who ran the post, they both went and covered the corner. The guy who ran the post was wide open and went for like a 60-yard touchdown. Barry just looked at
Dude,
me.
it's crazy. It's literally crazy.
He's like, you went right at the two studs. I said, yeah. I wanted to
You're like, yeah,
fun.
like, why not? Like, what else are we gonna do?
I want to have a little fun. I wanted them to just come down there real quick. So
it's crazy, dude.
But yeah, they both were like, whoa. They both looked at each other and they were in zone. And they're like, whoa. The guy went over the top of the post. But I hardly ever ran that play because in most normal games, it's hard to protect for a post in the corner mesh.
Oh, God, yeah, man.
You really need great protection or do like
you have to have a lot of protection, dude.
Really do like it only works really good on like a if you're in the eye and you run like a play action, dip the head, pull up, home run play, and hope nobody kills your quarterback as you do it all.
Pray to God.
Pray that everyone falls for the fake blast.
100%. Just be like, sir, please.
Yep. Then you can hit it. But anyway, yeah, those are some great players. It's amazing. Going back to college football. So Rutgers started out 4-0. Big wins against Washington. Who else was the other big win they had? But that was the signature, as I remember. So
of course. But again, like now everybody starts like, hey, yeah, like Rutgers is bad, da. And like Shiano said, like pump the brakes, guys. Like, relax. This is a process. We're in the freaking Big Ten, dude. Like, even though USC ain't USC, we're not USC. You know what I mean? I don't know if like I'm expressing that in the right manner, but like, dude, like you're still Rutgers. Like, and I hate to say it like that because, you know, I want them to do great too, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it takes time. And
does it?
Look at how long it took the first time. And now we're talking about this is a totally different world, man.
We are in the Big Ten. Does it? Do you think? And I don't think any of us knows the answer, but I'm just curious your thoughts. Do you think that Rutgers has they must have an inferior NIL system to?
From what I hear,
or I don't know.
I don't think so.
I think
really?
Okay, I didn't know. I
think he's just very. I don't think picky is the right word.
They have the money, is what you're saying.
I think yes, 100%. I think they have the money, and I think if he needed more, he could go get it. Right.
Okay.
But I think he has a specific way of putting his puzzle together. Right. And I also think that he's not one of these guys that's just going to do it to do it. Like he's doing it with a long-term investment set up. Like when I put this puzzle piece in, dude, like we're gluing it, stapling it, like it is solid. We're covered. Like that's what it is. Because he wants to create a foundation, right? That's just you're only going to keep going up. He doesn't want like, oh, I'll just put this in here to fill this crack. Or, you know what I mean? Or let's rush this so we can get it done. I'll take the cheaper guy. Like, no, man. He's going to put the right pieces. He's going to do it the right way. And then I think like that's his, hey, I mean, look, he ain't going anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going anywhere. The guy's here. He's vested. Now, I think he might lose his DC because I think that guy's pretty good. And I think a lot of people are going to go want that guy. But
who's that?
The DC for them.
Yeah.
What's his name? It starts with like an H. It's like some crazy. He played it. Listen, I played against him, right? Like he went to Springfield, so I tackled him like at least twice. But he's come up the ranks, and he's kind of like
Harrisimiak. He was I coached against him, believe it or not. He went to Waldwick High School.
Yeah, I'm telling like Dave. He played at Springfield.
Yeah, he was. Let's see. When did I coach against him? So he played Springfield 2004 to 2007. So it must have been when I was an assistant. Okay, at Saddlebrook, my first job, because 2003 and 2002, we played against him. He was Was he the running back? I think he was.
Yes, pretty damn good, dude. He was pretty good.
It was a quarterback. They
he
ran.
was like, and then when he went to Springfield, he became like a wing because they ran, option.
I have a great story from this. This has nothing to do with him personally. So just in case I meet him, he's not gonna be angry at me. But this is when
He
I was.
does look like an angry dude, though. He's got the beard longer than me.
No, we still played at Warwick, so let's I know exactly. Let's bump.
I know you Bergen County guys got those rivals that you ain't letting go.
Oh yeah.
Oh, by the way, Butler beat Glen Rock this weekend, division title. Let's go.
You told me that. So here's what's interesting. So Warwick was running the triple. We were obviously triple option. They had started to run the triple. I don't remember who the coach was at the time. I guess he was the quarterback, Parseghian. But I remember we go into film, and this is literally it was either my first or second year of coaching. We come in there. It must have been my first year, and I was helping the defense primarily. I really just did like the wide receivers. So like we come into film, and the coaches are like, Coach Schuman, watch this. Like we want to know what you think. I watched the film. I watched like the first half. And I'm like, they're like, well, what do you think? I didn't say anything. I said, it doesn't matter what you do. You'll stop them. This team is not fast. They're so slow. It doesn't matter what you do. He's like, well, they're a triple option. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. They're not fast enough. Now, it's funny because Warwick eventually got in a guy who was a great coach who I used to battle.
And then he just left, right? Or they just forced him out.
He was great, dude. He was great. I don't know who coached that team.
Listen, he had them dialed up. They were like, top 4 in that whatever little conference that Butler's in, that little Group 1 conference that does, the pseudo playoffs and all that other kind of cool shit. Like they do that, and I think like he kind of just like you know how it is.
I feel like he might have coached. I feel like he might have played for a guy who's actually a legendary coach that was older.
Plus, they were like a co-op they went to.
Well, no, they eventually went to co-op. Back then they weren't a co-op though. So back then they weren't a co-op. But I feel like he played for Simiak played for a guy that was a legend that was at the end of his career. But
probably I wouldn't doubt it.
But then Greg Rutgers came in there and did a bang up job. But it's so interesting when you see like Springfield is like a launching pad.
Oh my God, for everything. Coaches, strength and conditioning guys, like that's what they do. Like phys ed is their number 1 major.
Yep, absolutely. It's pretty.
I mean, look, they were my look. I mean, say what you want. They were like my top 3 schools. Like they were right in the mix to like, hey, if I want to be a strength and conditioning coach or I want to get into coaching or do like this is the place to go, dude. Because I mean, it was just, you know what I mean? Like, and look, when I played them, I had to play them my last 2 years. I mean, Dave, they threw maybe 6 passes in 2 years.
Yeah,
they also had a
Navy Army triple option, right?
Dude, they had a quarterback. I'm telling you, dude, he ran for like 300 yards every game, dude. Like he was banging his head on the goalpost, like set a bunch of records. Chris Sharp, like I'll never forget it. Like it was the only game, like we wore like shin guards in the secondary because we got cut so much, like all those kind of things. Like it was brutal. And they were always just a good team. But it was like a launching pad for coaches, strength and conditioning guys. Like that was the system. That's like why you went there. Right. And it was Springfield, Massachusetts. It's right where the Basketball Hall of Fame is. It was sick.
How about this? Right. I'll give you Chris Sharp's.
Go ahead.
So he's 2014. He's in the Hall of Fame for Springfield. 4-year letter winner.
Absolutely, dude.
4-year letter winner in both football and lacrosse at Springfield. Holds football records for points, 432.
Yeah, buddy. I told you. Dude,
Rushing
that's
yards.
Beyond a lot.
Yes. 432. That's
Dave, think about it. In 3 years I don't know. I don't know if he started all 4,
but divided by 6. I'm sure there's some conversions in there, but let's just say it's divided by 6. Jesus Christ. That's 70 touchdowns.
Look at our stat line. Look, they only threw whatever amount of passes, but guess what? Intel.
4,152 yards rushing, top Division III player in college. Scored 7 touchdowns in a game.
Yep. Not against us, though, thank God.
Little All-American second team. Empire 8 Player of the Year 3
Yep,
times.
that was the division or conference that they were in. Yeah, look at his stat line. Look at his so my senior year we beat him 33-30, and the only reason we beat them was because we made them drive, we pinned them deep, and then they had to drive the ball and they just couldn't score fast enough, dude. They scored, but they just couldn't score fast enough. I think they kept the ball for 8 minutes in the fourth quarter, and we were like, okay, that's how we won, dude. Let them score, but it took them that long. Because they literally threw maybe 5 passes in 2 years.
So cool. And now he's a regional sales manager for somebody. Go to LinkedIn real quick.
Here we are.
I'm sure he's got a great job. I'm sure he's got a great job. I'm sure they took care of him.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that guy might leave. Look, Rutgers, Dave. We could talk about Rutgers all the time, right? And we could look at, hey, the guy's coming in, and they just had a quarterback decommit, some dude from Pennsylvania. But I think that Shirais, who's waiting in the wings, is gonna be the guy.
Who?
Shirais.
Oh, Shirais for where?
AJ at Rutgers.
Oh, he's going to be next quarterback, you think?
Yes.
What do you think of their current quarterback? I read a lot of stuff where people are up and down on him. Like he's thrown for a lot of yards and he doesn't. I don't really know.
I always feel like Rutgers never has an offensive identity. Like it used to be when they were good, it was Ray Rice, Leonard, deep ball to Kenny Britt, right? Or dump off, whatever. They had an identity. Run behind Anthony Davis. That's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? And then play really good defense. And Shiano is a defensive guy. I feel like the offensive staff is a lot of older guys, right? So they're just kind of, I don't know. I just feel like you never talk about them being explosive, which I don't think is something you need to do to win in the Big Ten. But now with USC, UCLA, Oregon, you're starting to see more of those explosive teams, right? Even Ohio State has phenomenal receivers, but I wouldn't say their offense is a wide open explosive offense. It's more of a possession, set it up, big play type of thing. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. I think it's what the Big Ten kind of is. It's not the SEC, I'll tell you that much, right? It's all kind of meshing together, I guess. I don't know. It's different now because you're seeing teams like Indiana go to the top. You're seeing teams like Illinois start to have some success. Everybody is 3-2 or 2-3 in the you know what I mean? Look, Maryland has a big win. They're 1-4 in the Big 12. You know what I mean?
It's incredible.
You got Northwestern Northwestern is playing games at their practice facility, for God's sakes.
The other thing that I thought is incredible game coming up this week is who is SMU playing that's undefeated?
SMU
Pitt. So SMU's playing Pitt, who's undefeated.
So Pitt just went into Syracuse and made a statement.
Mollywopped them.
And I think that does a lot for Pitt because I feel like when Fran Brown got hired at Syracuse, there was a lot of buzz and all this other kind of stuff. But in this Northeast area, Pitt gets a lot of players from the Northeast, right? And I feel like for them, sometimes I look at games hey, this is a recruiting win, right? Those are big games, maybe not on paper, but when you go and you do what Pitt did to, Ohio State's former quarterback, the dude threw 4 picks or 3 pick sixes, or it was just horrible. They just went in there and made a statement look, if you have a decision between going to Cuse and going to Pitt, we just dominated them. So you can use that. And I feel like those wins are huge.
It's a great point. It's a great point.
Plus, I feel like Narduzzi, right, the head coach at Pitt, he's got a little that in him, I feel like. And that's what I think I don't know, when I think of Pitt, that's what I think of, right? You think of Pittsburgh, you think of tough, physical, punch you in the face type of team. I mean, that's just how they're undefeated. Pitt is 7-0.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They're playing SMU, who's actually 7-1.
Who's 7-1.
And SMU, they have
right above them in the standings.
They have a huge huge NIL SMU. So
after the death penalty, baby.
Dude, if there's any team, by the way, my favorite. Have you ever watched the 30 for 30? The Pony Express?
Great. Pony Express, baby.
That 30
How
for
about
30.
quietly? How about quietly though too? Like you want to talk about the ACC? Quietly, Clemson is 6-1 and nobody's talking about them whatsoever. It's all about Miami, SMU, Pitt. Look, Virginia Tech is 5-3 and they have like a terrible loss. Louisville, Syracuse, all like 500. Wake Forest, Duke. I mean, look, UNC might be one of the biggest disappointments. I mean, obviously, we're talking Florida State at 1-6. Like, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
Right? I mean, that's a big problem.
Yes.
And look, we're gonna have Mike Smith on from Heritage, on Thursday. And, obviously Surtain, the former head coach, is at Florida State. So I'd love to like pick Mike's brain and be like, what's going on at Florida State? Because he's had a couple kids like decommit.
Oh, from his team?
He also has Malachi Tony, who just recommitted to Miami. But he was the 2026 number 1 receiver in the class. He reclassed, Dave, and went up 2025. So he's leaving in January to get to Miami. Which, look, Cristobal made it a statement after that game in a press conference, like, hey, I think everybody in Florida knows where they need to go now. Like, that's a bold-ass statement, dude. Like, and we've always known that guy can recruit. Like, that's always been his thing, whether he was at Oregon, whether he's an assistant at Bama. And look, you know me, I'm on the Miami train other than the fact that they're Adidas. But look, you got Ray Lewis on the sideline, Bryant McKinney. You got Michael Irvin always doing some crazy shit on the sideline. Clinton Portis is there, and his son just committed as a 4-star. I mean, Jason Taylor from the Dolphins is coaching there. I mean, they got it humming right now.
Where's this?
Miami.
Oh, why didn't Jason Taylor was coaching there?
Jason Taylor's been he left St. Thomas Aquinas as the DC a couple years ago to be the D-line coach.
But isn't his son Mason?
His son plays at LSU. He's a tight end at LSU, yeah.
Interesting.
I think his son, I think, was before he transitioned to Miami.
Got it.
Whether that makes a difference or not, but I mean, could you imagine being coached by Jason Taylor or like Colorado? Like I get coached by Warren Sapp every day.
Warren Sapp seems to be doing a great job. He's really improved their D-line, I have to say. Like,
dude, he's a coach, man. Like, he's in there like, dude, let's use this, let's do that. Like, these guys, like players, a lot of times just do what they're told, right? But I think like him, like the greatest definition, right, of being good at something is the ability to teach it to others. And he was a great, like, phenomenal Hall of Fame player, but a lot of those guys can't really, articulate it and coach it because they've just been told what to do. They were just freaks of nature. But those guys that are attention to details, like Ray Lewis would be a great coach because Ed Reed, great coach. Like if they weren't such Looney Tunes in the head, right? Like Troy Polamalu, I feel like would be a great coach because those guys just, like, they were so ingrained in it. Like you're talking about, what's his name? Leonard, who's the DC for Wisconsin, right? Like he played for Rex Ryan with the Jets as a safety. Like those guys just they can figure it out. They can do all those kind of Eric Weddle is a high school coach, right? Like those guys that know that game in and out, right? Greg Olson, Luke Kuechly, those guys that are like so ingrained in that and then go coach it, like, man, they're on a different level.
There's no doubt. No, it's pretty amazing what they're able to do, especially if they can coach it, because it doesn't always translate, but when it
Hell
does.
no. I mean, look, does anybody talk about Trent Dilfer at UAB?
No, are they good? I don't even know anything about them.
That's what I'm saying. There you go. There's your answer, dude.
Yeah, I had no idea.
But we got Coach JB, who just because he is the way he is, can't find a job doing shit.
Welcome to the club, Coach JB.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club.
Listen, college football is really like
great.
It's great, but it's
40 minutes there. We ended up going 30.
you can say, and somebody can come at me with this if they want, right? Like, McAfee has changed it, right? Like, I just think the way he talks about it, the things he does, like, he's kind of brought Herb Street along, right? Into like that new type of, and now to add Saban to it, like, it's amazing watching College Game Day. Like, it is so exciting. Because Saban comes out with some of this shit and McAfee feeds Herb Street's, like, you know what I mean? And then, like, I just think that stuff is so good for football because you're getting that old school type of whatever with Saban. You're getting McAfee and what he does, which, dude, that guy should be like, I don't know. I just think he's changed everything, like, media wise, like, to a whole different level that now, like, the younger generations flock to, right? I mean, that's like, he doesn't just go to College Game Day, dude. Like, he goes early and like does his show from there, and then he gets like college town stuff. Like, he goes to like the small, like, yo, I'm in this town, what's the best pizza spot? All right, like, I'm going. Like, he ingrains himself in that, then brings it to the show. And now Saban, you've seen, like, was kind of tight to begin with, but now he's loosened up. And like last week,
Yeah.
he's talking about, you know what the best response to this is? The bench, man. The bench was always my best friend. Put his ass on the bench. Like, it's awesome, dude.
Yeah, no, dude, game day is wild now.
It's just so cool, dude. I
I
just
love
think
the
it's
field
so
goal
cool.
thing, by the way. I
Dude,
love the
he's like paying money out the ass now, though.
yeah, because I remember last year no one could make it.
No one could make it. People are like, now everybody's making it.
Now, because I think this is what happens. If you know you can kick and you live in you go to that school or whatever, there's always somebody who kicked in high school or whatever, right? Dude,
Yeah, they used
all
to
you
shoot
do
the
is,
half quarters and do all that other shit.
well, I'm just saying, like, if you kicked in high school, right, you were a decent kicker, or you
You
played
can figure it
soccer,
out, dude.
right? And you hear the
Yep.
game day's coming, you can get this amount of money, dude. I'm gonna go
You're
out there
like,
and kick
dude,
some
I'm gonna
balls.
go practice a couple kicks,
I'm trying to
figure
get
this
on.
thing out, and let's go.
Let's go. Exactly. All right. Well, till
You know
next
what
time.
gets most people? Like, most people can go. Look, if you're any, like, to me, if you're any type of pseudo athlete, like, you should be able to line up and kick a ball through the uprights, right? But all those people around you knowing it's College Game Day, like, that's what makes people, like,
That's
really,
what
that's
makes
what
it
makes
hard.
it, like, because you're like, yeah, like,
Yep. Yep. It was great. Well,
college football, man.
it's the best. Great episode.
It might be the Wild West and shit is crazy, but, like, we get to see it from a lot of angles now, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think, like, our guests and the things that we've talked about on our show and like talking about college football, like, it's just, yeah, it's like, it's becoming more and more of a business, but at the end of the day, it's still that
For the
college
fan,
status, right?
I always say that for the fan, if you're just a casual, like the only people who
Yeah, if
give
you're
a
just like a casual whatever, you know, you
cares,
either people
this is
turn it on, they're
great.
like,
I don't
dude,
give a
like,
fuck about
I mean, come
NIL.
on, man. Like, nobody gives a shit watching the Giants last night wanting to jump. Like,
Well, I think what's cool about college
you're a
football.
Jets fan, like, you're at 1% chance of making the playoffs. Like, dude, it's over. I'm done. Like, I would much rather watch a kid kick a field goal or watch a Buffalo run around on a damn field at halftime. Like, and know, like, maybe I got a shot to have this kid as my quarterback in a couple years, right? Like, that just atmosphere and the fact that, like, there's traditions and now the rivalry games are coming up, right? With who gets this trophy, who gets that trophy, or and now they've expanded the playoffs, so it's going to be even more of something, right? Not just, you know, when we had a computer doing the BCS, like, oh, one team over two, and like now you have like teams actually playing it out.
But I think the casual fan enjoys everything around college football, and they don't really care if players are being paid or not. They just enjoy. Only people that are worried about their be us being in high school, we deal with it. But if you're a fan, this is great for you. It's
Dude,
like
this
better
is
players.
exactly what you want.
Yeah, it's better players. It's a greater reality show. It's a lot more fun. I mean, that's the bottom line, right? So we're more the old man on the porch yelling because we're in it. But if you're not in it and you're just a fan betting and well, dude, it's great. It's
And
unbelievable.
listen, and I think that's another part that's taking college football to a whole nother level is the betting.
Yes. Forget
The
about
fact
it.
that you can go find any site and get a free $200 bet or whatever the shit and do something. You can do a different site every week and get free money. And I just feel like that's like such a big deal now because there ain't one game that you see that doesn't have DraftKings, FanDuel, ESPN Bet. Like it's gone to a whole nother level since betting has really kind of like it's just different, dude.
There's no doubt about it.
People pay more attention. Like, how many like ever bet a game and not watch it? Like, it just doesn't fucking happen, dude.
No, of course you're gonna wild. Worst thing that happens, you got in the corner of your screen. Like, I mean, you're
And then
watching.
listen, and you can bet everything, right? Like you can bet every freaking hey, this guy's gonna catch a pass. Like you can bet on everything.
Everything. Oh, that's
100%.
quickest way to go broke. No
Oh
doubt.
God, yeah.
All right, till next
Real
time.
fast.
Till next time. Great show.